Okay, Eamon, well, thanks again for having us. A couple of quick points for you now before we head to our biggest bankers as usual. First of all, it seems England can't approach any major tournament without having a crisis of some description hanging over them. This time it's talk of revolt over the John Terry race row saga with Capello falling foul of players supporting the embattled Chelsea star. What's your take on that situation, especially since the revelations last night?
Well, I think that I don't think Capello has a good relationship with the FA. And I don't think he has a good relationship with the English media. So I don't think he'd be too unhappy to be leaving. The crisis was caused by the Football Association making a unilateral decision without consulting him. They decided that John Terry shouldn't captain England while he was accused in a criminal trial of racist sentiment. And I think they were right to say the English captain shouldn't have that hanging over him. But they should have consulted Capello because he is the team manager, and strictly speaking, it's his call. They didn't consult him. He went public in Italy to an Italian television station and said that he didn't agree with them, he strongly disapproved. So something had to give there. Capello defined the problem as a red line issue. In other words, it was his call who should be captain of the side. They decided that, rightly in my view, that Terry shouldn't be the captain, but they didn't do it the right way. Now, if the relationship was good, they would have consulted him and there wouldn't have been a problem. But I think it was a bad relationship anyway. Capello's contract is up in 4 months' time after the European Championship. I think he's glad to get out of there and take a job somewhere else at the end of the day. The big losers are the players and the fans because they've no captain, they've no coach now, and the championship and the game in 2 weeks' time. My take on it is that Capello is entitled to his point of view, which is that he makes the call. I think he would have been wrong if he'd allowed Terry to stay as captain, because I won't accept that racism is something that can be tolerated, even if it's an allegation. It's a serious allegation. So that's my take on it. I think they'll sort it out. Harry Redknapp will probably get the job in the end, and it's something they can overcome.
Yeah. So you think Harry Redknapp will be the replacement? Yeah?
I think he's the likely replacement, but by no means certain, because he has a very good job at Spurs. They're doing really well. Spurs won't want to lose him. He's 18 months left on his contract. The Football Association will have to pay compensation, but he's certainly the players' favourite and he's the fans' favourite. So he's most likely to be the New England manager whenever.
Okay. And another handshake drama this time, Liverpool versus Manchester and Suarez and Evra. We gather there will be no cancellation of the pre-match ritual, with the two players expected to get on with it. Are you expecting a bitter clash between the two sides when they meet on Saturday?
Yes, I think Manchester United Liverpool games, regardless of the Suarez-Evra incident, they're always very hotly contested games. There's a lot of intensity. The two clubs and their fans in particular don't like each other. It's a long-standing rivalry and it's not very pleasant most of the time. I think Suarez and Evra situation will exacerbate things on Saturday. It's a very big match for both clubs, so I think it would have been wiser to do away with the handshake. That's going to sort of allow people to vent probably quite unpleasant sentiments from the terraces. It's not good for football, it's not good for the two players or the two clubs. It's unpleasant all the way around. So I think the wisest thing to do would have been to do away with these handshakes, which are nonsense anyway. I mean, the players are shaking hands with each other and, you know, a minute later they're kicking lumps out of each other and diving all over the place. So it's a ritual football could do without.
Okay. And then getting it down to business for the weekend and the week ahead, what would your biggest bankers be for us?
Well, I think we're sticking with the 3 draws. We got 2 out of 3 last week, which means we made a profit. At the moment, there's 2 bets actually I'd recommend. The first is a win double. And I'd recommend it with a reasonable amount of confidence. I think Spurs will beat Newcastle, and I think Sunderland have a great chance of beating Arsenal. Arsenal will be favourites for the match, but Sunderland under Martin O'Neill have really improved dramatically, and Arsenal are beatable. So you might get a very good price for that double because of the Sunderland element in it. The other bet I fancy my 3 draws again this week. I think there's a good chance of Manchester United and Liverpool being a draw. Liverpool have got some good results, including beating United and beating Manchester City recently. Yeah. So they won't be afraid of that match, and I think that could be a draw. I think Wolves and West Brom, which is a Midland derby, could also be a draw. Okay. And I think the third draw would be Swansea and Norwich. 2 sides that come up from the Championship. They've both done well in the Premier League. I think that those 3 matches are likely to be draws. And if you do them in doubles and trebles, I think there's a very good chance we'll show a profit. And we've come very close to getting our trebles up a couple of times in the last few weeks. But the double is enough to cover your bet and make some profit. So that's my recommendation for the weekend. West Brom Wolves, draw. Swansea Norwich, draw. Manchester United Liverpool, draw. And a double. Spurs to beat Newcastle and Sunderland to beat Arsenal. That could be a surprise of the weekend, Sunderland to win that match.
Brilliant. Well, once again, thanks again for having us, and we'll see you next week.
My pleasure.